Resilience, rising, how Black women are redefining success through adversity. When the world tells you no, what do you say to yourself? I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Sharnea Ursery, a visionary leader whose work has transformed how thousands of Black women navigate professional spaces. Her profound insights on resilience aren't just theoretical, they're battle tested through years of mentoring women who have gone on to shatter glass ceilings across industries. Sharnea doesn't just talk about resilience, she embodies it, creating pathways where none existed before and lifting others as she climbs. Her ability to translate personal triumph into systemic change has quite literally altered the trajectory of countless careers. Through our conversation, I discovered something profound about the journey of Black women in professional spaces that I believe can transform how we all approach life's inevitable challenges. The dictionary defines resilience as the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. But after my conversation with Sharnia, I've come to understand that resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward. It's about taking what tried to break you and using it as the very material to build something stronger, more beautiful, more purposeful. Think about it. When gold is refined, it must endure the hottest fires. When a diamond is formed, it withstands the most crushing pressure. What if our challenges aren't punishments, but prerequisites for our greatest contributions? This isn't just positive thinking. This is the lived reality of countless Black women who have transformed systemic barriers into stepping stones toward unprecedented achievement. Consider Ursula Burns. Growing up in public housing on Manhattan's Lower East Side, she knew the sting of economic hardship intimately. The daughter of a single mother who worked multiple jobs to keep food on the table, Burns could have easily become another statistic. Instead, she became a symbol of what's possible when resilience meets opportunity. As Sharnea pointed out in our interview, Burns didn't just overcome obstacles, she systematically dismantled them. With degrees from Brooklyn Polytechnic Institute and Columbia University, she entered Xerox as a summer intern. In most stories, that would be the happy ending. But for Burns, it was merely the opening chapter. For nearly 3 decades, she navigated corporate restructuring, industry shifts, and the subtle yet persistent barriers faced by Black women in engineering spaces. She wasn't just surviving, she was strategically building relationships with mentors who recognized her potential. She was developing the skills that would eventually position her to lead. In 2009, Burns became the first Black woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Let that sink in for a moment. The first in 2009, not 1969 or 1989, but 2009. That's not ancient history. That's the year Avatar came out, the year I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas was topping the charts. Some of you were probably still figuring out how to use your first iPhone. As Sharnea emphasized, what makes Burns' story so powerful isn't just that she reached the pinnacle of corporate America. It's that once there, she didn't simply maintain the status quo. She led Xerox through its largest acquisition ever, the $6.4 billion purchase of Affiliated Computer Services, fundamentally transforming the company's business model. Her resilience wasn't just personal, it was transformative for an entire organization. And her legacy continues to reshape what's possible for Black women in corporate leadership. But here's what Sharnia helped me understand: resilience isn't something you're simply born with, it's not a fixed trait that some people have and others don't. Resilience is a muscle that strengthens with use. It's a skill that can be developed through intentional practice, deep self reflection, and perhaps most importantly, community support. This brings me to another remarkable story Sharnia shared with me: the creation of the Fearless Fund. Imagine walking into room after room filled with investors, pitching your business idea with passion and precision, only to be met with rejection after rejection. Not because your idea lacks merit, but because the people holding the purse strings can't see past their own biases. This is the reality for countless Black women entrepreneurs. Less than 1% of all venture capital funding goes to businesses led by Black women. Not 10%, not 5%, less than 1%. If that statistic doesn't make you pause, it should. We're talking about innovative, market ready businesses being systematically denied the capital they need to grow simply because of who's pitching them. Ariane Simone, Kesha Knight Pulliam, and Ayanna Parsons didn't just accept this reality, they decided to rewrite it. Together, they founded the Fearless Fund, an Atlanta based venture capital fund that invests exclusively in businesses led by women of color. As Sharnea explained, these women didn't just break down doors, they built entirely new ones. They leveraged their personal experiences of exclusion from mainstream funding sources to create pathways for others. They transformed their frustration into foundation building. In just 3 years, the Fearless Fund has invested millions into over 40 companies owned by women of color. Many of these businesses have gone on to secure additional rounds of funding or gain national recognition. And they've done this despite legal challenges to their right to focus on underrepresented groups. This is collective resilience in action. This is what happens when women refuse to internalize rejection and instead externalize solution building. When you've been told no repeatedly, Sharnea told me, you have two choices: believe the no or question the system that produces it. The founders of the Fearless Fund chose the latter. And in doing so, they've sparked national conversations about equity in finance while creating tangible opportunities for entrepreneurs who might otherwise be overlooked. But resilience isn't just about overcoming economic barriers or corporate glass ceilings. Sometimes it's about facing down global crises with scientific precision and cultural sensitivity. Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett's story, which Sharnia shared with such admiration, exemplifies this perfectly. As one of the few Black scientists leading vaccine research at NIH's Vaccine Research Center during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Corbett faced dual pressures: the scientific urgency of developing an effective vaccine and the cultural responsibility of addressing vaccine hesitancy in communities of color. Raised in rural North Carolina, where educational opportunities were limited, Dr. Corbett never let circumstances define her potential. Instead, she channeled her brilliant mind and passionate heart into immunology research that would eventually help save millions of lives globally. But what makes her story particularly relevant to our discussion of resilience is how she navigated the complex intersection of science and trust. As misinformation about the vaccine disproportionately affected communities of color, Dr. Corbett didn't retreat into her lab. She stepped forward, combining rigorous science with thoughtful public outreach specifically tailored to communities historically underserved or mistrustful due to medical racism. Her team helped deliver one of the world's first highly effective mRNA vaccines against COVID-19 within months, a record pace. And her transparent communication helped drive vaccine uptake among hesitant groups. As Sharnia noted in our conversation, Dr. Corbett didn't just develop a vaccine, she developed trust. And in communities that have historical reasons for skepticism, that's no small achievement. Now named a Time 100. Next honoree, Dr. Corbett continues her advocacy and mentorship of young scientists from underrepresented backgrounds. Her resilience wasn't just about personal achievement, It was about creating pathways for others while literally saving lives. These three stories, Ursula Burns, the fearless fund founders, and Dr. Kismikia Corbett, illustrate what Sharnea emphasized throughout our interview. Resilience is multidimensional. It operates on personal, collective, and even global levels. And it's particularly powerful when it transforms adversity into purpose. As the great Maya Angelou once said, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. This sentiment echoes through each of these stories and through Sharnia's powerful insights. But how do we cultivate this kind of resilience in our own lives? Sharnia offered three practical strategies that I believe can benefit everyone, regardless of their background or current challenges. First, intentionally build your support network. Resilience isn't a solo sport. Burns had mentors within Xerox who recognized her potential. The Fearless Fund founders had each other. Dr. Corbett had teachers and family who encouraged her from an early age. Who are the people in your life who believe in you even when circumstances seem bleak? Who challenges you to grow beyond your comfort zone? Who offers honest feedback delivered with genuine care? Second, reframe rejection as redirection. When the traditional venture capital world said no to countless women of color with viable business ideas, the Fearless Fund founders didn't internalize that rejection as a statement about their worth. They recognized it as a systemic failure that needed correction. Third, share your journey authentically. Dr. Corbett didn't hide the challenges she faced as a Black woman in science. By speaking openly about her experiences, she not only processed her own journey, but also created visibility that inspires others. I want to close with a scripture that Sharnia shared during our conversation, one that has guided her through her own challenges. Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying the very real pain that comes with adversity. It's about recognizing that our challenges, particularly those faced by Black women navigating systems not designed for their success, can become catalysts for growth, innovation, and transformation. So I challenge you today. Look at the rejection letter on your desk. Look at the door that just closed in your face. Look at the system that wasn't built with you in mind, and then make a choice. Will you let that no define you, or will you let it refine you? Will you accept the limitations others place on you, or will you create new possibilities they never imagined? Will you navigate the existing path? Or will you forge an entirely new one that others can follow? The world needs your resilience, not just for your own success, but for the transformation it can bring to communities, organizations, and even global challenges. Because when you rise through resilience, you rarely rise alone. You create ripples that become waves of change, and those waves, they're just beginning to crest. Thank you.